Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. If you're new here, if you could smash the subscribe button, it goes a long way. And also, if you could smash the like, because basically that helps us out in the YouTube algorithm, and those nerds down at Silicon Valley can push the channel forwards. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin 3 looks pretty much set, according to various reports online. Both fighters, of course, have an interim bout in the meantime. Canelo Alvarez will be fighting at 168, fighting Billy Joe Saunders. He will be fighting for Saunders' WBO super middleweight title, and Gennady Golovkin is due to face his IBF middleweight mandatory, Kamil Sesmareta. So both guys have fights in between. And to be honest with you guys, I fully expect both guys to win, especially Gennady Golovkin. I expect Golovkin to really go to town on Sesmareta. Canelo Alvarez has a harder opponent, but nonetheless, I really expect him to win. And providing that happens, it looks like we've got Canelo versus Golovkin 3. What are your thoughts on this potential third fight? Are you guys even interested, or are you guys burnt out on Golovkin versus Canelo 3. I've got to say, I've got no real problem with this fight, in all honesty. Ultimately, the first two fights, in my opinion at least, were very entertaining. Particularly the second fight. I felt the second fight was excellent. Just a real high-level fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So the first two fights were very good, and both fights were very contentious. The first fight in particular, most people felt Golovkin won. The second fight was a lot closer, and Canelo certainly had a good case in that one. But ultimately, going by the official scorecards at least, neither fighter has, displayed dominance over the other. We've not had a clear winner on the cards. And, that in itself gives room for a third fight, and it will certainly help it sell with all the controversy that's gone on in the past. And also, like I said, the first two fights were very good, especially the second fight. So if this third fight happens, I would certainly be interested. I've got to say, I would be much more interested if this fight takes place at 168. I think that would add a different dynamic to this fight, to be honest. I actually believe Golovkin these days is now struggling with the weight at 160. I know he was never a huge middleweight, but the guy's 37 years old now. These weight cuts get harder and harder, and, they take something out of you. So moving to 168, I actually believe could be beneficial for Gennady Golovkin. Potentially going to 168 could give him a new lease of life, to be honest. And as for Canelo, I think Canelo's going to have a hard time making 160 again anyway, so I think this fight would certainly be a lot more interesting at 168. I just believe in that division, both guys will be nearer their optimum performance rather than at middleweight. So yeah, I am interested in this fight. And let's be honest, it is still the biggest fight at 160 or 168. What bigger fights are there in those weight classes? There's none. So the fight still makes a hell of a lot of sense. And like I said, I wouldn't be complaining if this fight gets made for a third time. The only thing for me that will be a little tedious is the build-up. We've had a lot of back and forth between both sets of fans, both camps. There's been a lot of controversy, and it's basically been one of the major talking points of the sport for the last 5 years. Golovkin and Canelo, ever since Canelo threw away his WBC title way back when, these guys have been back and forth since then, and it's been the topic of the town. So, the build up to a third fight, it might be a little tedious. But when these two guys are sharing a ring, they'll make for fireworks, and it'll be a great fight. So I'm pretty much for it, to be honest with you. I really am. I don't see what bigger fights are out there for either fighter, to be honest. So yeah, this fight does make a lot of sense. A part of me would have liked to have seen both guys go a different route, to be honest. But ultimately, if this fight is official and it does get made, I've got no problems with it whatsoever. And the closer it gets, I will certainly look forward to it. And ultimately, let's be honest, that is why DAZN signed Golovkin. They want a third fight. and a third fight for the zone would certainly be a subscription driver. You know, people will get the zone to watch this fight. It's still a massive fight. It's still one of the biggest fights in the sport. It really is. So, yeah, I believe this fight will happen after both guys have their interim bouts. They are still saying June 12th for this fight, which is very optimistic considering what's going on. You know, both guys need to have their interim fights, and with all of these delays, you know, that September date could get pushed back. So I'd be surprised if it happens in September, to be honest, but you never know. We can hope, we can wish. But yeah, I do believe this fight will happen after both guys have their interim bouts. And yeah, providing it gets made official, I've got no problems with it whatsoever, to be honest. Share your thoughts below. I know not everybody's going to share those opinions. I know a lot of people are really burnt out on Golovkin versus Canelo, and I can see why, but like I said, when these two guys are in the ring, they will make the fireworks. And I think at 168, it's just a little bit more interesting as well. So share your thoughts below. What do you guys think of this? Peace.